the season? Been an interesting one, as they would say.
Yeah, it has been indeed. The springtime started off with a bit of up and down weather, and we were feeding hives till quite late into late November and early December, which is usually doesn't happen. But and then the honey flow in the Canterbury region started with a hiss and a roar, really, because of that change in hot weather that we got, and they started bringing it in really fast. But when it came to that January period, when it became too dry, we were looking for a big rain, but it never happened. So
a lot of people were looking for that big rain.
Yeah, absolutely. So our season has been average, but it's been better than the last couple of years. So which is good from our point of view. But nationally, the honey crop has been pretty much just average, with a few areas that have been done quite well, probably above average, but then there's quite a few areas, like especially down south and South Canterbury and stuff like that, where it was real dry. Some of those guys got basically nothing, so which is pretty hard to deal with.
Well, it makes it impossible, because you've still got expenses.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so some of those guys down there were feeding hives in probably late January, early February, where they probably shouldn't be feeding until late February at the earliest. So and it's just it takes a lot for those guys to get back on track again. They really need a good season next year to make up for this one. But
you still got to carry it. You still got your provisional
right,
tax.
Yeah.
You've still got,
yeah, absolutely.
And sugar. You guys buy sugar by the tonne.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, especially in where we beekeep in the Canterbury Plains, it's you need to feed. So we feed from sort of August right through till we always like to sort of finish around Christchurch Show, depending on when.
Which is November for
November,
those who don't know.
But this season it's gone on a bit longer, so we've probably fed a bit more sugar than we have done in the past. But yeah, it's a necessity of life to keep them going.
I mean, 60 or 70 tonnes of sugar is a lot of sugar. You mix it up into a slurry?
Yeah, we do, yeah. So it's basically 50-50 mixture with water. So we have a mixing tank that that holds about 1,500 litres. We fill it half with water, and then we buy the sugar by 1 tonne bags, and we just tip a whole 1 tonne bag in.
I mean, we buy it by the sort of the small packet. Is it an industrial sugar, or is it the sort of stuff you would put in your coffee?
Yeah, it is. Some of the stuff that we buy is a manufacturing sugar, so that's what all the other industry,
like cakes
and stuff like that. So that's what we are using. You can buy the A1 grade sugar, which is what they sell in the supermarkets and stuff like that, but it's a little bit more expensive. So that's what we use.
It would be very much more expensive.
Yeah.
So, prices. You were saying that some people just literally haven't made ends meet this year.
Yeah, the honey prices of New Zealand honey has still got a very strong demand for it overseas, especially in China and in the Asian countries, which is keeping the price up tremendously. Lots of clover honey that we produce, it's sort of gone up 20 to 30% in price, bulk price, since last year. So which is quite a good gain. But the Manuka honey and the UMF honeys and stuff like that, I mean, that's gone up. We've just bought some recently for a client, and we're paying probably about $7 a jar more than we were last year, and that's for a 500 gram jar. So yeah, it's going to be, but the demand is still there for it from the customers overseas. So I don't know.
Are we not big honey consumers in New Zealand?
We are, but I think that is declining a little bit because of the prices that we're getting for export prices overseas. I know for the price that we get for our domestic product that we sell in the supermarkets locally is quite a bit less than what I can sell it for in a bulk drum to another honey packer to sell overseas. So
yeah, I see what you
which
mean.
becomes very interesting.
I guess a lot of people who have got bees have been relying for pollination as far as income is concerned.
Yeah, that's right. And with pollination for next season, because of the honey prices are where they are, there's a lot of beekeepers are next season thinking more seriously about chasing the honey production side of things because of the honey price. So the farmers that grow small seeds and kiwi fruit and all those crops that need bees, they need to be proactive and talking to their beekeeper to make sure that they're going to have some beekeepers to bring some hives in next year. I've talked to a couple of beekeepers that are sort of one-man operations, and they do quite a bit of pollination, and they're basically going to pull the pin because of the honey prices that they've been getting this year. And these two people I've been talking to have had quite a good season in honey production, so that's where they think they can go.
Are you suggesting that if you're doing pollination that you don't get as much honey? Or
Yeah, but that's right, yeah. In the crops in our business that we pollinate, especially the carrot seed, we're putting 8 hives to the hectare in there, which is you're basically overpopulating an area or a food source for them. And especially the carrots, it has a very short window of when it yields. So some farmers and agents that you talk to say that it only sort of yields at about 3 or 4 in the afternoon when the ground temperature gets to sort of over 20 or 21 degrees. So it's a very short space of time during the day that they have the chance to gather nectar off that plant. Some other crops are a little bit better than that for yielding and stuff like that, but yeah, it's very interesting.
It's a subject that not many people actually think about. You know, they go and buy a jar of honey and they know that there's bees everywhere, but it's a science.
It is, yeah, absolutely. And it takes a lot of work to get a jar of honey as well, from start to finish. So beekeeping is very labour intensive, and it is indeed.
How are you getting on with the reunification, or the unification, I should say, of the whole industry?
Yeah, it's moving along very slowly, but I think we're making progress. It'll be. We had a survey that went out to all of the beekeepers throughout New Zealand, and there was I would suggest it's a pretty poor response back from it, but it went out to 5,000 beekeepers, but they only had about 700 responses back. But out of those 5,000, there's probably 700 to 800 that are like commercial operations. So it's a bit of an unknown as to what ratio there was from the feedback that they came back. But there will be a report about what their findings were at conference, which is in the end of June this year in Taupo. So
sounds as though someone's going to do a lot of phone calling.
Yeah.
Barry, thank you very much indeed.